ladies and gents, welcome back to War Thunder Ground Forces, and this is the Jagdpanzer IV 70A premium tank. Now, I haven't actually played a lot of Ground Forces since the last time I thrown up a video. I've been spending most of my time spading aircraft. So as a result, this is an old battle. This was the first battle I played after these tank packs came in. In fact, this was my first battle in this tank, and my first battle on this new map. The name of the map escapes me, I'm sure somebody will put it in the comments. Now, I've gone around the northwest section of the southern hill. Stupid place to put the tank, but I didn't know any better at the time. Now, I'm not a particularly great fan of this new map, but I'll explain why later. But first, what about this tank? Armament-wise, this has exactly the same weapon systems as the standard Jagdpanzer IV that you'll find in the tech tree. Its design is somewhat different, however. I've just been set on fire, and there we go, lost it to a T-34. Back to the spawn, let's try that again. Now, this tank varies from the Jagdpanzer IV that you see in the tree, mainly around its hull design. The one in tree, the top section of the hull of the Panzer IV was removed, and front angled armour was applied all the way down to the lower glacis. This version, the upper hull of the Panzer IV remains intact, with the crew box and the angled armour being applied on top of it, where the turret would normally be. Now, this is both a blessing and a curse. What this means is, for a downside, the gun still has the same limited traverse of that of the standard Jagdpanzer you see in the tree. However, there is a large flat panel mounted straight across the front of the tank, same as on a Panzer IV. This is a very hard panel to try and angle to oncoming fire, especially considering the limited traverse of the gun. Front hits into that panel will almost always penetrate. Now, it does have heavier armour than the Panzer IV does there, but you're hitting a flat target. It's very, very, very easy to put a shot through. So it's a weak spot using this thing as an assault tank destroyer. Any shots will just be aimed below the gun mantlet, straight into the flat panel, hit the ammo rack, and blow this thing to smithereens. The upside of leaving the box compartment from the top of the Panzer IV intact on this design, however, is it elevates the gun by an additional foot to 2 feet above where this tank would normally have its gun placed, or where the gun would be placed on a traditional Jagdpanzer. Because there is a large empty space below the gun, it means the gun can actually depress a lot further on this thing than it can on the standard Jagdpanzer. With the gun being highly elevated due to that extra space, this means this tank is much easier to get hull down and lock into a position and fire over obstacles. As you can see here, I'm able to get far more elevation than I would ever be able to do on a standard Jagdpanzer. These design features, coupled with the highly accurate gun, and what you've got yourself here is a sniping platform. That's exactly what this thing is built for. You can put it in extreme range, find a very shallow depression to put it inside of to hide the entirety of the lower hull and that front plate, and still have the upper section of the hull with the gun poking out over the top, able to engage targets at extreme range. The angle on the front plate is also higher than that on a standard Jagdpanzer, and it's more heavily armoured, so shots trying to penetrate, well, you'll see here soon enough. Now, I've just taken the road that's in the depression heading north. Now, this depression is large enough you can hide a Tiger tank inside of it, so hiding something like this, even with its much larger profile, is very, very easy. And it's the only truly safe way to advance on the North Hill. However, I've noticed this tank to my rear. I need to get shots into it. I can't afford to expose my back. I do get a couple of hits in, nothing too critical, but just enough to manage to get it to duck into cover where it's not going to be able to shoot me. I begin to back out of the depression until I realise that the depression has gone and I have no cover. At this point, I'm going to swing the tank around, but I've noticed a KV-2 that's moving through the centre field. Now, this was within the first hour of the patch going live, so not a lot of people realise the problems of this map at this stage. So that's probably why the KV-2 is in the centre field, which is an odd spot to find it considering the location of the cap point. I haven't got an angle on the KV-2, so I'm beginning my climb out of this depression. I'm in open ground here. I'm aware I'm exposed. I'm watching carefully on that ridge line and towards that castle to see if anything's going to come out. And I'm looking to get through these trees into the depression that I can see ahead and see whether or not I can get some better shots out. At this point in time, I've already realised what this tank is. And I'm planning on using its unique sniping abilities to great effect. Now, why don't I like this map? Well, the basic layout is okay. A hill to the north and south, Easily accessible from the spawn points for both teams, so each team has their own hill. Large open ground with depressions through the centre of the map that smaller tanks can move through. Some larger tanks will be able to take cover in there, and it makes for an interesting design with the ability to flank around behind the hills on both sides of the map for both teams. The basic layout is okay. What I don't like is what you can do once you get on those hills. Now, I'm not quite in a good enough position to be able to get shots on this KV-2 here. I'm just trying to keep its head down. Keep it locked in that hole while I work out exactly what I've got to do to get this thing in just the right spot. Now, in a moment, you'll see my upper frontal armour working as I was describing before. This KV-2 is going to start putting shots straight into the front of the tank, and every single one of them is going to ricochet. He's not going to be able to penetrate the upper plate at all. I think he hits me 4 or 5 times, and he just does no damage. Now I'm backing up the hill here, trying to find a spot where I can get better depression on the KV-2 to start putting shots into its turret. But right as I'm moving into position, a T-34 pokes its head up over the edge of the ridge. So I spot it up. The ridge line is in the way. It can't get shots on me. I cannot get shots on it. But my allies on the opposing hill have spotted it as I've lit it up and are already putting shots into it. So I'm going to let them deal with it. I'm going to go back to shooting at the KV-2. So what do I not like about the hills on this map? Well, once you've got teams up there, you can counter-snipe the opposing hill and take out everything in the mid-ground. This is fine. This is a perfectly balanced design for both sides. What I have issues with is if you can get your tanks into the right position on these hills. There we go, bouncing shots off the KV-2. If you can get the tanks into the right position on these hills, there is actually no cover between the enemy spawn and the hill that your team will take. Since there's no cover, if you put one sniper who knows what he's doing in the right spot on those hills, he can effectively snipe out tanks as soon as they're spawning in. I personally have been able to take this tank, position it on the south hill since this battle, target the north spawn and execute 6 enemy tanks attempting to enter the map before they even had a chance to move. Now the team's dealt with the T-34, I'm putting shots into the KV-2, and the team finishes him off. So alright, I'm heading up to the castle now. I think I'd actually quite enjoy this map, but there needs to be some kind of hard physical cover in between each of these hills and the spawn points themselves, or the spawn points need to be in a depression large enough to provide them cover from hill snipers. At the moment they are in a depression, but it's simply not enough. The turrets are still exposed on tanks, so you can ammo rack them as soon as they appear. There needs to be either a deeper hole, or something hard and solid, like maybe broken castle walls, or really anything to break line of sight from the hills to the spawns, preventing that kind of spawn camping, or across map spawn camping. Now I've made it to the top of the hill, I've checked the alleyway, there's nothing in there. However, a new KV-1B Premium has appeared on the other side. Time to test out its armour and see how good it is at range. Line up my shot. Not very good. Admittedly, that shot did go straight into the back of the turret from the other side of the map and pop the ammo rack, so it was something he wasn't expecting. The tank itself is probably pretty good, but that just shows what this thing is built for. Long-range sniping is what it does. Now, rolling in to secure the castle, there is no enemy tanks here at all. In fact, the T-34 that popped over the ridge is the only tank on the enemy team that attempted to take this hill, and he moved out of the position. This would never happen now. This was because people were inexperienced with the map. There's the T-34 respawned in. Take aim. Again, showing this thing as a long-range sniper. Straight through, set it on fire, first shot critical damage it, the fire kills it. Now this was the first moment that I've seen the lead target indicators on aircraft, and honestly I don't think they should be here. Maybe for anti-aircraft trucks, but not for tanks. And that's because it is so easy to do what I'm about to do. Now this yak is flying around at the moment. I do try and line up a shot on it, but it's simply too fast and too manoeuvrable for me to get my gun into position on time. I'm just tracking and following it to make sure it hasn't got any bombs. I'm not worried about it being able to penetrate my armour with its armaments. Take a shot, not even close. Well, I was close, but I wasn't going to hit the target. And I was just about to roll down into the depression until I realised I saw an IL-2 coming in from the left. And it looks like it's going to go straight across the map and attempt to hit the spawn point. So I just back it up. Just looking to line the shot, rotate through. It's going directly in, pre-place the gun, pull the trigger. Goodbye IL-2. And he was not happy. And as you can imagine, that was the end of the match. So, the results for the match. Second place for the team, 1 air kill, 2 ground kills and 2 assists, a new decal and the Terror of the Skies award in a tank destroyer, 28,004 silver lions and 14,210 research points. And yeah, my first battle in the 70A. I quite like the tank. It very much suits my style. It won't be for everyone. I'm still learning some of its interesting abilities. The mesh grills down the side of it seem to prevent HE rounds from penetrating, but they do nothing against AP. When targets do get close, I am still working out how to successfully angle the armour to prevent penetrations on that big flat front plate. And, well, its mobility is slightly less than the standard Jagdpanzer, but it is somewhat heavier, with extra armour and extra weight due to its size. But overall, I really enjoy the tank. I'm really glad I got it. It is a fun machine to drive. So next up, we're back in the Tiger, and this was only my second or third battle in this tank. I still don't have the parts unlocked at this time. This was also the first time encountering one of the variable cap point maps. Targeting AI across the map first up. First hit in. No instant kill, but crippled it. Now, considering the limited number of maps available for ground forces at the moment, the variable capture point idea was a great idea. Having the game randomly select one of the 3 capture points on a map and make it the only point on the map that counts for capping. This forces a confrontation between teams, especially good at times when there are a limited number of players on. If you want to win, the fight has to be around A. Now, A is already being taken by the enemy team, so they have a player tank down there, but I'm dealing with these AI first, because their interesting ability to strike with laser accuracy from across the map will cause me problems when I bring the Tiger around the corner. So get rid of them first, so I can't be sniped out. A is almost capped as I begin my move up, and there's another AI in front of me. Now, it actually takes me a second to notice that the player tank is available straight below, the one that is currently capping the map. He's secured. I noticed the movement. I should have been looking closer. I was a little fixated. Line him up. That's him dealt with. First player kill. 2 AIs so far. Reline up this AI. Now again, this was only my second or third battle in this tank, so I'm still learning how to aim the drop over different ranges with this gun. I've gotten better of it since then, but then again, my Tiger is now fully upgraded. I take a hit from the opposing side, however. Enemy tank across the map. It disappears, so move back on target. I must have been still proxy spotted from the player tank that I eliminated before. It allowed him a moment to get a shot in on me. Reline up this AI. Another hit. No kill. I am just using standard cap head rounds on this one. I don't need APCR levels of penetration at the moment. Finally eliminated the AI. That's the third AI kill. Now I've got to secure A. And I do have to be the one to secure A. I'm not sure what the rest of the team was doing, but they all went south to away from the A capture point. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe they didn't realise that there was only one active cap on this map. They just didn't look. I don't know. But with nobody else down here, I have to be the one to get into this cap circle and lock this down. We've already lost a good third of our capture points. Now straight into the capture circle and pre-angle the tank. I'm going to peek around this corner straight away, and there's an enemy tank there. Carefully line him up, and that's that problem solved. He's out of the match. Now I'm aware I can be flanked here. There's actually 3 directions I can be attacked from. I don't think I'm going to be attacked from behind. That would require the enemy team to move through the tanks that we already have moving south. However, I can be attacked from either the bridge side or down that ridge. So I'm trying to position the tank so I'm at least somewhat angled from attacks from both directions. Explosion going off behind me lets me know there is something with bombs above me at the moment. It just released and completely missed. But the fact that it's there is something that I need to be aware of. I'm also trying to stay back off the rock. If there's anything around here that is going to have artillery strike capability, it is likely going to target directly behind the rock. If I get too close, they'll be able to drop on me. Now I'm just rocking the tank here, seeing if I can get an angle over this edge. And I had a bad feeling that something else was going to come down that ridge. I was checking bridge side, and that explosion was actually a Peshka trying to ram out the cap circle. the wreck has actually clipped through the ground. It suddenly spawns out of the ground in just a few moments. Now an enemy tank has made a rush through. It's nipped around the back of the rock. I cannot afford to leave the cap circle. I have to get this thing capped. So I'm just backing it up into position, making sure I've got guns angled. Alright, now I'm capped. There's the Peshka. Back out of the circle. Trying to keep a side angle on. Looking for... there he goes. He's already come around the back of that rock. So move the tank to angle. Try and line up a shot, but he backs in behind the rock. And there we go, there's the artillery barrage rewarding. It's coming in on my spot, so I move out of the cap circle quickly, re-angle the armour to approach it from the right-hand side. Now, I don't have parts unlocked on this tank at the moment, so as I round the corner, I take a hit, smashes the turret. I now cannot rotate the turret, and I have no ability to repair it. I keep the tank angled for a second because I'm at a good angle. The gun has actually locked up in a really good position. Wait for the second shot. Push the tank forward. Traverse the hull in order to rotate the gun. And execute the target. And that was the end of this match. The remaining enemy tank on the enemy team is an IS-1 that's hidden up on the ridge. However, he knows there's a Tiger down here. He's unaware that I don't have repair parts and that I've taken damage. But he has seen me kill the last 3 tanks that were in this area, plus taking out 3 AI, so he doesn't end up coming down. So the results for this match: first place was 6 kills, 3 players and 3 AI. The Tiger Ace 1 achievement completed, 27,744 Silver Lions, 4,520 RP, and this was the match where I finally got the parts upgraded, so I'll never run into that situation with a broken turret again. This was also the match that made me fall in love with the Tiger, just the sheer amount of damage that was being thrown at me, and the fact that I was able to solo secure the entire North Cap point against multiple player controlled tanks, as well as AI. I just fell in love with this thing, and I've been in love with it ever since. It is a great tank. I'm not particularly fond of the headlights on the top of the hull being, well, where they are means you cannot perfectly angle this tank. Apparently once they weren't there, Gaijin really needs to remove them or make them clippable items so the barrel can move through them. Besides that, there is near nothing about it that I don't like. I love everything, and it just looks amazing. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this video. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, drive smart, drive safe, and I'll catch you on the battlefield.